for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Council. Next, we have the agenda approval. Everybody received a copy of the agenda via email or came by here and picked up one. Was there any questions or any comments about the agenda? Yes, Mike.
Mayor, I don't know where it could do it or add it. It's not an emergency issue, but I don't know if you've seen the dumpsters out there. It's totally full, and there's another dumpster with stuff on the side outside.
Well, and yes,
I was going to recommend that
we get another dumpster.
that we get another dumpster and put that on the agenda.
Yeah, well, in fact, why don't we go ahead and add that on there, we would have approved, but,
I mean, it's not an emergency, but
well,
It's in the clerk's report, but we can go ahead and add that on there.
when are they supposed to pick that dumpster up?
Tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning.
We'll go ahead and just make a motion.
yeah.
Okay, let's just add it on the agenda. You want to make a motion that we'll add it on there?
And 9D,
9D.
the additional dumpster.
Okay, we'll have a second.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, let me know, raise your right hand. It's unanimous. All righty. We've got on here a public hearing to allow the public input in regards to the possibility of the Municipal Services Agreement. Have you got any input on that you got prepared or anything?
Just basically that I put the public hearing notice, the public hearing and participation rules for how to conduct that I found that were on in our files here, and a copy of the Municipal Services Agreement. And I actually, because it was on the agenda to be covered here under number 8, I basically wanted to just mention, go over things that this is a municipal services agreement to help with zoning and code enforcement issues. Some things that have already been mentioned and would need to be addressed are making sure that the city has sufficient insurance coverage to meet requirements, making sure that the City of Nelson's codes and ordinances are respected and acknowledged, making sure there are limitations in place which will prohibit abuse of the agreement by people looking to cause problems rather than solving them, making sure that the termination process is simpler in case the city is not satisfied with the end results of the agreement, and making sure that the city is able to obtain information on a regular basis as to the goings-on pertaining to the agreement, and that open lines of communication will be key in the success of this process. These are just some of the points of discussion that came up at the past meetings. And to bear in mind that this is just the beginning, that no official decisions will be made until the council is completely satisfied with the agreement at hand. And then we decided that we wanted to advertise a public hearing so that the public could come and speak about their concerns. And that's what this is today.
And then that did appear in the newspapers.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, we'll open up the public hearing to entertain any public comments or anything like that that anybody wants to put in. Yes, Mike?
It says in here there's supposed to be a sign-up form. Do people sign in?
I just found this form, so I didn't know if y'all wanted to go by that. Honestly, I just found it looking through stuff. But we had some concerns the last time we had a public hearing about how long people were allowed to speak. So the time issue here basically states proponents and opponents are allowed 15 minutes per side to present data, evidence, and opinions. So it was just kind of something that we can go by, and in the future, if you'd like, I can go ahead and add a sign-in sheet.
Well, it says the members of the public who wish to speak must sign up on the form provided prior to commencement of the public hearing.
Okay, we'll go ahead and put that on the clipboard then and let anybody that wants to appear sign it up, sign it.
And also, if I can add to that, Mayor, it says the speakers will be called as they appear on the sign-up form. If that makes any importance to anybody. Yeah, the way they've got the time thing is it's 15 minutes per side.
Yeah.
So presumably the sign-up sheet should say they're for or against the issue, and then it'll allow you to, however you want to see it presented. But then we can talk about maybe not more than 15 minutes. A half hour will be a long talk on this issue.
We'll let her just put it on
Yes.
a clipboard and let the ones that want to speak go ahead and sign up on it. David, did you ever do your research that you was wanting to do?
No,
Never did get it done.
close enough.
You won't pass it around, anybody wants to speak? Does anybody else want to sign up to speak on the
I do.
Here you go. I was supposed to give you, thank you.
if you would just, if you don't mind, just bring it up here. Or just turn it over to her there and she'll, handle it. Who's first on the list, sir?
Mr. Lamar Kellett.
And Mr. McKillop?
Lamar Kellett, 10051 Drive in Nelson. I would like to speak for the agreement. I feel like that in order for us to be a viable city that people want to live in, enjoy living here, we have to have some means to enforce our codes and ordinances. And as we all know, we've struggled in the past for various reasons. Either we don't have a policeman or we don't have those on the council who are proactive, many different reasons. But this particular time, we have an opportunity to have people who are experienced in this sort of work to assist us in order for us to fulfill the requirements of your oaths and the needs of the city. And so I won't elaborate any further. I think it's a great idea and an opportunity that I hope we won't pass up.
Okay, who's next, Artie?
Tom?
Tom Thomason, live at Laurel Lake. I'm just, from a practical and financial point of view, I don't see what other choice there would be unless we're going to raise taxes a lot. Since being part of the homeowners association, it's become clear to me that there's a difference between covenants and ordinances. And right now, I don't see who we would go to for ordinance covering ordinance violations.
Okay.
I mean, it's open-ended now. I guess we could call it county, but this would firm that up.
Okay, we appreciate your comments.
Just from a practical and financial choice.
Okay, who's next?
Next is Mr. Paul Feldman.
Paul Feldman, 3048 Cypress Cove. First, I'd like to thank the council for allowing this to take place, to have this discussion. It's much appreciated. At this point, my understanding is the service agreement is basically just a template document. It's not been tailored to Nelson. Based upon that, any in-depth discussion of what's included in it is pretty fruitless. The point of tonight is, does the council feel it's worthy to move forward and have a discussion with the county? Not, this is exactly what it's going to be, because we don't know what it's going to be until we negotiate it to fit Nelson. My suggestion is that it be approved, and also that the council pull together a committee made up of whomever you would wish to discuss this with Cherokee County and negotiate this, and then come back to the council on a monthly basis until it is either voted one way or the other, and get input from the council and move forward with it in that way. That would be my suggestion to you. And again, I appreciate the time and I appreciate y'all allowing us to speak.
We appreciate it, Mr. Feldman. Who do you got next?
Denise Costa?
Hey there, I'm Denise Costa, 3069 Cypress Cove. I definitely agree with pursuing this and trying to see if the county will do it. I think it's our only hope to take care of the ordinances. I don't see how the city of Nelson is going to be able to afford to get its own police department going and continually having it going. And so I think the county is our only hope for getting this done.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Sullivan?
Feldman. 7 Ingram, 354 North Avenue. I'm dead against it. I've lived here all my life. I don't think, and I live on the Pickens County side, I don't think nobody in Cherokee County has got no business telling me what to do with my place or around my place or any of my neighbors. I live on a dead-end street. I've got good neighbors. Dave is one of my neighbors, his parents. You know, I personally think if everybody else would mind their own business, they wouldn't be minding their neighbor's business. That's just my opinion.
We appreciate it, Mr. Raymond. Okay, we got anything else we got there? Is that it? Okay, has the council got any comments or any discussion you want to put forth? Okay, yes, Mike?
Make a couple of comments. So it's on the agenda for us to vote, right?
To vote whether or not to move forward with negotiations, not to actually approve it, but just to go ahead and see.
See if we want to move forward or not.
Yes, yes.
So my two questions are, if we decided that we did want to go forward with it, who would do the negotiations?
Well, from my understanding, we'd have to form a committee to do that, and
Yeah.
that would be the ones that would be doing the
Again, it's
negotiation.
premature, we may not even want to do it. I mean, this is how the council votes. The other question with that is that I can see some issues that kind of speaks to what Paul says to Taylor and Nelson, some other kinds of services, and how to request those services, and what kind of the limit. I mean, there are some issues that I would like to be able to participate in, give to the committee if we set up one, or whoever's going to negotiate, so that when they go to negotiate with the county, again, assuming we want to do that, there's a pretty clear idea, whoever our negotiating people are, what it is the city wants out of this contract for their governmental services. But, I mean, that's kind of premature because we haven't decided we even want to do it, so.
Anybody else in the council have any comment?
How much is this gonna cost?
$12,000 a year, is it?
No. The initial quote is, of the sample contract, which is based solely on Waleska's, is $11,000. However, we don't need the extra alcohol, which was from the university being there. They had extra, like, underage drinking. And the fire issue, we already have the agreement with Cherokee County in reference to that, so that would take it down as well, which is why I'm not, when I write up about the voting, it's not voting to approve an MSA, but just to kind of comprise a list, take these questions that I read, the concerns of the public, comprise something and go to them and say, you know, this is what we've come up so far, can we move forward with this?
And you know, the $5 million insurance coverage that you're wanting, we don't have.
We can add that.
Well, we can, but I mean, we got, looking for a $5 million policy is going to cost us.
Like I said, that's why I had put that on there, almost just part of negotiations and coming back and forth and seeing, you know, if we're even interested in moving forward, not agreeing to it, but just seeing if they're willing, you know, to bend and address what we want.
Okay, upon motion, we'll close the hearing and continue on.
Make a motion, we close the hearing.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion second, all in favor, raise your right hand. Catch unanimous. All righty, next we have approval of the April 3rd, 2017 council meeting. That's in section number 5. So, everybody should have already received it and looked it over. Does anybody have any comments on it, or we'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes? Yes,
I have a comment. That would be under public appearance, number 8. And in the narrative under Paul Feldman. What I think is missing in here was, probably fits in between the sentence from Mary Ray better than the end of Paul Feldman, was to indicate that I had offered to put my name in the hat to be considered to be the city manager, for the city manager position. It's not in here. I'd like to see Mr. Hadland offered his name for consideration for the city manager to put in the minutes, if the council so chooses.
any discussion? Of course, he's raising the point on that it's not in the minutes, so we need to add it in here. I'll put it under
Oh, okay. I thought we did away with that.
Did away with, what's that?
City manager.
Well, we
Yeah.
have.
This is just talking about what was said in the meeting.
Okay, do we have a motion to add that into the minutes?
Make a motion, we add it.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion second, and we add it into the minutes. All in favor, let me know, raise your right hand. Okay, it's unanimous.
Thank you.
Okay,
Make a motion that we approve the minutes as written.
okay, we have a motion second. All in favor, let me know, raise your right hand. Unanimous. Okay. Okay, next we have the municipal clerk's week proclamation. What is that? Is this the national clerks?
Well, Nathan Deal, the governor, like there's often proclamation just to kind of celebrate individuals, perhaps fields of careers, different things like that. I was invited to attend last week the signing of the proclamation. So Nathan Deal had said that he breaks it down right here, and this is not the final copy because there's a mistake, so I'll read it as it should be read. But basically it says, by the governor of the state of Georgia, a proclamation, Municipal Clerks Week, whereas the office of the municipal clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world. The municipal clerk is the oldest among public servants. And whereas the office of municipal clerk provides the professional link between citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at other levels. And whereas the office of the municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community. And whereas municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of the municipal clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, province, county, and international professional organizations. Now therefore, I, Nathan Deal, Governor of the state of Georgia, do hereby proclaim May 7th through 13th, 2017 as Municipal Clerks Week in Georgia. In witness hereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of Executive Department to be affixed this 20th day of March in the year of our Lord 2017. And it was signed by Nathan Deal, attested by Chris Riley, Chief of Staff. So I had attended the signing, and I just decided to share it. Usually they have the reading of it, and it's something that he tries to do annually.
Okay, did we want to, do we have a motion to add it as a proclamation?
Take motion.
Do we have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
A motion second, all in favor, let me know by raising your right hand. Okay, it's unanimously approved. All right, Tina, we get to meet again here. We have the department written reports.
Give me 1 second to catch up, I'm sorry. Financial report. The Cherokee County SPOS meetings between the communications company as well as other municipalities in the county have been going great. I'm glad to say that we are all working well together to get what each city needs and to meet the needs of the county as well. We are expecting an updated spreadsheet of the figures shortly, and I'll forward those along once they are received. And included with this report is a statement of revenues and expenditures through March 31st, 2017 for your review, for you all to look over. I went ahead and included that.
Tina. Mayor,
Yes,
I asked Tina a question.
sure.
Thank you for doing the statement of revenues and expenditures. This is my first seeing of it, so I haven't digested any of it. One or two things, if we could get this earlier, as opposed to just getting it now and to have to read through it and make any drawing conclusions out of it. And secondly, could you, because you put it together, I guess, could you kind of give us a quick overview of what are the takeaway points on the March?
Well, I've kind of given this to you guys because it's something that I wanted to address at the work session in terms of starting to discuss budget amendments. So I wanted to give you all a couple of weeks to look at it before we went in and discussed that. The reason it ends in March 31st is because Stacy, who does our bank reconciliations, I wanted to give you one where it was done and reconciled so that we, like she had matched everything there to kind of go over that. Now the things, it's broken down and this report is printed out in percentage. I can also do one that is an amount in terms of remaining budget, which is a little bit easier to read, and I thought that's what it was, so my apologies. This is actually broken down in percentage, but it shows what we brought in. First category, current budget, current actual, annual, year-to-date actual, and remaining. The first page is going to be right down here on revenues, occupational tax, property tax, motor vehicle tax, sanitation fees, rental of ball field, things of that nature. And then we move down to expenditures. And it's broken down into categories: city council, city clerk, city manager, administrative, city hall. You can kind of take a look and see some of these definitely show that we need to make adjustments and go ahead and make the amendments to the budget. Our biggest issue is we have a lot of overages, obviously, in the maintenance issue because we've had the equipment there. We didn't budget for all the repairs and things of that nature. But if you look up here at the police...
Could we start including the report like of this type with the notice of meetings that comes out to all the council members where we'll be able to...
If I can get it, see, it'll wind up being from the month before, in other words. Okay, as long as that's all right, just because she comes in, she has to wait for all the bank statements and things like that to come in, so she can do the reconciliation.
Everybody give everybody a better feel of the situation.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. Go ahead, sorry to interrupt you.
Okay, so that's the basic situation with that, just to give you all a chance. And I'm also gonna, next time I send one out, I'm gonna try to do under remaining budget instead of percentage, actual numbers. I think it spells it out nicer. It gives us an exact idea and an amount, which is always helpful.
Okay, well, you have further that you were going to...
Oh, I was just making sure there were no more questions on that. No.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay,
next is maintenance. The Kubota backhoe is back from being repaired and came in under cost at $652.40, which is fabulous considering the fact that there was more damage than originally thought. The tool cat is due to be returned by the end of this week, provided that all the parts come in and the repairs go smoothly. Further maintenance information will be addressed shortly in agenda item 9B. Sanitation, the write-offs that were voted on at the last meeting have been taken care of. This made billing much simpler and saved the city money and wasted postage for accounts that we were highly unlikely to collect on. People have been steadily paying their sanitation bills since they went out. There was a letter sent with each bill advertising the dumpster days, and it seems that was a great way to get the word out. The dumpster was also promoted through flyers around the city's website, and Facebook, as well as word of mouth. There was an error on behalf of the dumpster company, and that while services were confirmed, there was an oversight in making sure we were actually on the schedule. While this made things a bit hectic on the first weekend, we were able to get the dumpster delivered by mid-Saturday afternoon. So both weekends were a success in that we filled the dumpsters, and it seems that we may need to order one more in order to take care of the overflow that resulted from last weekend. I had a lot of phone calls, emails, well, not so many emails, more phone calls and people coming in thanking us. They were grateful that as opposed to sending out citations telling them to clean up, we provided a way in order for them to clean up. And they hope that we can continue to do this maybe, like once or twice a year, which was our thought initially, try to do like a spring and a fall cleanup. Like I said, there was a small glitch, but thanks to Kelsey and her craftiness, we were able to get a dumpster delivered on Saturday despite the glitch.
Yes.
Yeah. What does it cost us for the dumpster?
Well, let's see, the one we did last time in the fall, because we had I believe that was a week we had that one, but I don't have the bill yet for this. So I have the amounts that we were quoted. Oh no, I'm sorry, that should have been. I don't have my paperwork from last meeting.
It's a flat rate and then a rate by pound when we go.
Yeah, by I think by tonnage or something like that. If I'm correct, it's like $165
That's what I'm
for the dumpster and then 40 some odd dollars per ton.
$200.
Yeah, around 250 bucks for that, You figure maybe like per dumpster or whatever have you. I think we were up, we might have paid $600 or $700 last time. I'm not quite sure, I'm sorry, I don't know that.
Yeah.
I had tried to figure it out, but I was hoping I would get a bill, but I think they're waiting to send, till we're complete for this, to cycle it out before they send a bill for everything. It had gone up a little in terms of dump fees, because dump fees have gone up across the board, but it wasn't anything substantial.
So is how long you keep it?
No, we could keep the dumpster for 30 days. Like, well, most of the time when they do
That
an
would be
agreement,
scary.
it's
Yeah.
Most
What
of
we
the-
did over a weekend.
most-
It was 4 on the first day. Are you kidding?
most of the
I don't want
time.
to go a week.
No, most of the time when a business rents it or a person rents it, it's 10 days, but they allow municipalities to have it for 30, but I mean, ours is, it fills up so quickly, it would be, so it's not in terms of that, it's, we could keep it for that amount, yeah. So it's the drop off and then the weight is where the cost comes from.
All right, is that, you have anything else?
Okay, information on the May 18th work session meeting. The work session for this month is scheduled to be on Thursday, May 18th at 7 p.m. Mr. Barry Holbert from Maxis Engineering is going to be here at the meeting so that we can go over what needs to be done on Cherokee as well as the area behind the community center. He was unable to make the last work session, but is working hard to make sure everything is ready for this upcoming meeting.
Has he guaranteed you he's gonna be here?
Well, he can't 100% guarantee it. So, but he hopes. Like, he was almost done with the drawings and things. I think he got called away on projects that took him out of town, and that's kind of how that's how the cookie crumbled.
Yes, ma'am.
So Tina said this will be a devoted meeting, our next meeting, to just talk about the...
That's not the main thing that I want to do. We might bring up some potential budget amendment. I would like to present maybe, like some things of that nature that we don't necessarily have to discuss. I don't know how long it's going to take. I would like to focus on this so that we can get this done.
And there you mean just moving the money around within the budget to what we are getting now.
At least presenting and maybe going over, because I don't want the meeting to be 6 hours long. I don't think anybody does. But what I can do is if we decide to do the budget amendment, have Mr. Holbert take care of his thing first, and then he can leave, and then I would hand it out, just kind of go over and say, hey, take a look, and we'll go from there.
Has the right-of-way issue been solved down here in the hall, down here behind the community center?
That's all you, Jeff.
I've not gotten any direction to go and do anything at this point. It was my understanding that he was proceeding with the other project first.
Okay.
I didn't know that we can work on it whenever y'all are proceeding on that one. But I need to get with him in terms of specifics, but I didn't understand that he was doing that one yet.
Yeah, I didn't know either.
Can we give the city attorney direction to look into that issue?
Well, I think it's premature right now. We just need to deal with Cherokee Avenue. It's only taken us 8 months on it, so we might want to think about finishing that before we dive in something else out there. Okay, is that all your report there, Tina?
No, one more thing. The security light over at the parking lot by the nature trail has been installed, and it seems to light the area nicely. Hopefully, this will deter shenanigans from occurring there at night, and will also allow for us to install an additional security camera if the council wishes to do so. Street lights around the city have also been repaired, which goes a long way in making the citizens feel safe when walking and or driving through the city. I had about 16 of them out, and I was a bit pushy and persistent, but I think we have them all up and working. Or as of Friday, we have them all up and working, Teresa. So.
Yes.
Mayor, Tina, I thought we voted to put in a security light there. I mean, a security camera.
I think we talked about it.
We talked about it, but there wasn't an actual vote.
Really?
We had talked about adding that and then adding cameras up there potentially on our,
So.
because we had money left
to add
there.
to the agenda, isn't it? Well,
How much did the camera cost?
I'd have to get a quote to find out.
Okay, go ahead and get the quote on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
and you can find a place on the future agenda to put that on. Don't need a camera out there.
Like one on the mic.
No. Mm-mm. No, we have room. That was one of the things I had discussed when we had that done, is we were wise enough to go ahead and get the camera system where we could add on, so if we wanted to do maintenance, and then back there in that parking lot, or maybe up there we could.
I think we talked about it.
We actually voted on it. Okay.
But I'll go ahead and get the quotes for a future meeting in several different scenarios and have that ready to present.
Thank you.
And then I'm done. That's
You're
it.
done.
I'm good.
Alrighty, of course, we've kind of already covered it as unfinished business, so vote whether or not to move forward to begin potential negotiations regarding Municipal Services Agreement with Cherokee County. We've hashed this out to a certain extent. Are we ready to vote? Okay.
Yeah, no, this is the note. When I worded this, this is just, I'm asking the council to vote whether or not to move forward and begin potential negotiations regarding the MSA with Cherokee County, bearing in mind that this is just the beginning and that no official decisions will be made until the council is completely satisfied with the agreement at hand. So this is just to kind of take these questions that we've already gathered, whatever concerns you all may have, and start negotiations depending on how you wish to do that. Whether Jeff, Jeff can handle it, or we can do a Jeff combo, committee combo, or whatever have you.
Yes.
How much have we spent so far on it this year with jail?
One meeting.
I mean, as far as money spent on code violations and stuff.
In terms of code violations, I sent one letter, some follow-up phone calls, probably a couple $100.
So we haven't, it hadn't been as costly a situation as we thought it was, right?
That one was resolved. The property owner took action and, to my understanding, resolved the situation, so we didn't have to take the next steps of formal issuance of citations and coming to municipal court. If we had had to do those things, of course, that would have added up.
Okay, we have a motion of any type.
I'll make a motion that we just proceed far enough to see, what their response is. See, we're not locked into anything, it just kind of gives us an idea, and I don't want this to turn into like a homeowners association thing, because I don't, like he said, I don't want them knocking on my door any more than anybody else does, but I do like the idea that there's somebody that can do something if a situation comes up. Well, we don't have a police department right now, and we can get out of this, can't we, if...
Whether it take 2 years, I mean, it take a year.
Well, no, that was one of the things that we wanted to address was to change the,
If there were issues that we can get out of it.
yes, to change the restrictions on ending the agreement. That was one of the things that we had.
I second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion, any further discussion? Okay, those in favor of moving forward, raise your right hand. Those against it? It's 3-1. Okay, so we'll, the vote is to move forward with it at this point, but again, this is exploratory, and one thing we need to really look at, Tina, here is, you know, there's not going to be a whole lot of stuff that Cherokee County has to do. And especially since, you know, there are no alcoholic beverages, and you know, I would expect us to get a much better price than what they quoted us. I think a year or two years ago, they were quoting us $9,000. And
I mean, I had briefly talked with Mr. Cooper at the conclusion of this last meeting when I had a second to speak with him and kind of had gone over some of the initial questions, and he said those are great. He's like, do y'all want us to address those or not? You know what I mean? Like, he didn't want to move forward unless, you know, but that was all things that could be addressed. Certainly one of the big issues was the getting out of it, that can be adjusted. Another thing that was mentioned was that our codes and ordinances be respected. That was another thing that he seemed to be in agreement with. Basic conversation, like I said, just brief, but it seemed to be positive, and he seemed to be impressed with the fact that we had taken the time to go over it and discuss it and come up with different approaches and questions and things that we want to see. So.
all righty.
Mayor,
Yes.
so to follow up to this, I mean, Tina's mentioned several issues. We've made a commitment to move forward. We then need to kind of look at someone putting together whatever the issues are, or insurance, or whatever they are that we want to have addressed, and probably put on a piece of paper so we know whatever. Someone needs to be in charge, sort of a project manager, to take this to the next level.
Yes, Dave.
Who's gonna be responsible for all the attorney fees whenever you take somebody to court down in Cherokee County and stuff like that?
The county deals with all that. Like, I think they get all the money for it, like if there's a citation, right?
But then according to this paperwork, the city's responsible for all attorney fees and court costs and stuff.
That's correct. Now, right now,
So
and
that's just the whole thing, don't
I've
it?
had concerns about that. I've had concerns about that, given the expense that the county attorneys have been to the county. And so I was going to propose perhaps looking at something different. Right now, actually, though, the county, in an attempt to save money, does not have the county attorneys who work on an hourly basis doing code enforcement. It's right now being handled by the solicitor's office. So they're not paying per hour for it right now. So in terms of that, we would want to be clear, are they going to try to charge us something for that? But that's probably at this stage, something that's kind of included. Because they're not paying by the hour for it, therefore we shouldn't pay by the hour for it either. And if that were to change though, I think we would want to exert some control over that, because you're right, that could go up without our control.
That's a good point, I didn't say that, so.
Yeah, it's said that in everything about this code, it says the city's responsible.
They've got a regular profit center there, for sure.
What I would do is, I mean, they provided this, I think all they did was modify Waleska's, but I think their intent was use this as the working document. So I would suggest that y'all go through and pick it apart. Go through this one as the working document and say, I do or don't like these things, or I have questions about these things, and probably work from this document. I think that was their intent. Rather than starting fresh, we use this as the template and go from there.
So could you all have copies of that if you wanted to, like, take a red pen or a marker or something and go ahead through it? Take the, and make your marks and ask your questions and write your notes, and then maybe bring it back to me at the work session on May 18th. Would that give people enough time to kind of red pen through it and make your notes, and then we can go from there?
And I'll do that too.
Okay.
Why don't we do that? Let's just, could we have a motion to just table it for the,
Well, I mean, we don't have to, this is part of moving forward. Like, I don't intend to go, you know, or go to Mr. Cooper and move forward until I have a complete list of what you all want to bring forward anyway. So I'm not gonna, I mean, we won't do anything until,
Yeah, this is just to get a basis to see if it's something we want to
Yeah.
move forward with, or if it's something that, you know, there's too many rules and regulations that we can't afford or whatever.
I also have too, I think we ought to include Jeff in any discussions we have with the county as a party to help advocate our interest.
okay, everybody, if you will, let's go ahead and take the copy that's in the book here and make your comments on it, and we'll see how it turns out at the work session. Okay. We have a vote to approve the renewal of the Georgia Interlocal Risk Management Agency policy, which covers property and liability, which that's basically a lot of mumbo jumbo for our insurance. But they have gone up on us substantially, it would appear to me, Tina.
no, actually, I just want to minor, there's a little bit of a confusing thing. Let me take a moment to explain that. Earlier on in this paperwork, it says total contribution, $14,520. Now, if you go by that number, yes, we've gone up. But there is a credit that we get for, how did they word that? Let's see here. It was like a renewal credit or something that took the bill to $10,696.
And how much was it last year?
Right around the same amount. It went up, I think, just a couple of $100. Like when I say couple, I mean, I believe it was right around $200-ish. Don't have the exact number. I was waiting to hear back from them on that because, like many other things, the paperwork around here went vamoose. So I was basically trying to figure out how much we spent and was unable to do so to the exact number. But this covers things like, you have your first page, City of Nelson, and of course your biggest liabilities is law enforcement, which is covered, and we could go ahead and get rid of that, which would take the terms down, but then we'd have to take it back if we had decided to add the police department. Public officials, errors, and omissions liability, we're not getting rid of that. That's a necessity when you have, it's important. That's important right there, ladies and gentlemen. Personal injury, employment practices liability, those kind of things. We also have automobile liability, automobile physical damage, crime, fidelity. And while we're not using these police vehicles, it's also important that we keep them insured. And they understood that, like, for example, if we were to, because I looked into, well, we're not driving them, so can we take some of this insurance off of them? Well, we could, but if someone decides to steal one and use it to joyride or pretend like they're a police officer, then that liability wouldn't cover it. And I mean, with the municipality, we really need to be careful. The smallest thing can bankrupt the entire city. That's why we need to have insurance and quality insurance to protect us. It's just like, you know, as a homeowner or a property owner or a business owner. But as a city, there's higher standards that we need to uphold. Then there's also property. I did go ahead and go through, I got rid of the police animal mortality coverage because I'm not aware of any animals that we have, so that's gone. That was for some reason included in years past, and I don't know if that was in the anticipation of a canine dog, but for some reason we had police animal insurance. I cut that off. I don't think we need that. I also got rid of the insurance that was on the Hummer and the 5-ton because we no longer have those. And we were also insuring the building that was demolished, and we're no longer insuring that because...
We should insure them.
Exactly. I mean, we could, just in case, but, so those were things that were taken off.
It looks like 10,696 is the bottom line.
Yes, less renewal credit, that's how they totaled it. So I'm sorry, right here on this page, it's a contribution summary and it kind of breaks it down here. So the subtotal was 14,520, the less renewal credit was 3,824, and the total was 10,696.
And we paid somewhere in the tens last year.
Yes, I think it was 10-4 or something, and I'm sorry, I just wasn't able to get through to them, to get a hold of them, to get an exact number.
This renews as of May 1, right? Or as of June 1.
This also covers garbage truck, the garbage truck, police cars. Like I said, there was a lot just going through it that I didn't realize that we were insuring, that we didn't need to be. So I found a representative that was willing to kind of sit with me, well, on the phone, but regardless, to sit with me and take the time to go through every line item and explain to me what was what. And I'm glad we did that so that the city, we're saving the taxpayers money by not insuring things that we don't have, such as police animals and horses, or buildings that are no longer in existence, and so on and so forth.
That's due as of today.
No, they gave us an extension on that because I told them I needed the council approval.
Okay.
So there are different ways that we can, it's already budgeted for. It's just broken down in the budget into different departments.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay, yes, Mike.
Make a motion that we approve the renewal of Georgia Local Risk Management Agency policy.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, let me know by raising your right hand. It's unanimous.
And I also add that we do need to have a discussion at some point about the police department and what we're going to do, because a large percentage of this is having to do with money we're spending. I mean, like even like the police cars it was $3,200 for insurance on it. Granted, there was about a 30% credit, but I mean, something has to be done. It's like there's thousands of dollars going out every year for cars that are just parked. And one of them's the Crown Vic we're still paying insurance on.
We need to sell the Crown Vic.
Yeah, but it has, I mean, it has under here that we're insuring it.
Speaking of the Crown Vic, I got an offer from a citizen on that, but that's something that we have to bring up at another time.
Oh, and we probably need to just go ahead and put it on advertise it for sale. We should have went ahead and sold it at the sale we took it to down in Cherokee County.
Did we ever take it to the sale?
No.
We wound up, it never
We had a
went.
bid on it, we didn't accept the bid, and then it was gonna go to the auction, and then it never went.
Because the auction was recently, but the good news is that the auction was so successful. I had spoken with other cities, and they said that they recommended to use the auction down in Cherokee County, because all the equipment vehicles that they sold, the city did well with.
I think it's Dobson that handles that. That's up here.
So we
They
can put
have
that, if
They
you,
have annual auctions. When's the next auction?
Last weekend was,
That's last auction.
Let's get him on that.
it'll be a while before the county has another one.
I think they only do it once a year.
Yes, Mike.
Mayor, I wonder if you could have Tina look at the insurance, not this, but the insurance issue that you raised regarding the intergovernmental agreement, and have her come up with a hard cost estimate.
And that's $5 million. So, of course, it'll be just in that area, so it's not going to be a disastrous figure, but we need to look at it. All righty. Next, we have discuss and vote on approving allowing Mr. Faucett to head the maintenance department to start work early in the day. What time does he propose starting work early?
well, he thought either 6 or 7, and I went ahead and looked through our ordinance, and it says that, it states that work is not to begin before 7 a.m. due to noise. So when I explained that to him, he said 7 a.m. would be fine. He said even though it's only an hour, it will go a long way in allowing him to get the more strenuous activities out of the way before the afternoon sun and heat hit. And I mean, during the winter, when we do the daylight savings time, I mean, it'll be too dark. He said, but you know, for a couple of months anyway, if he could start at 7, work 7 to 4 as opposed to the 8 to 5, it would help out a lot in terms of.
I think that would be fine. Could I have a motion to that
I'll
effect?
make a motion to approve.
Yes,
I'll
we will
second it.
discuss.
Go ahead and make a motion and I'll discuss how that.
Okay, we got a motion, so you want to discuss it?
Wait a minute, who seconded? I'm sorry.
I did.
Okay.
So, I looked up as well, because he had mentioned it to me, and looked up, and it does say 7 o'clock, but that's for like construction work.
Right.
And he told me that when we worked at the school, I think he said they were there at 6. And it was a regular, again, it was a mowing exercise. And it'd be, if the attorney would approve, I would think we could, even though the ordinance says 7, we could permit him to be at 6 by just making an amendment, or not an amendment, but a resolution that allows that to happen. And if it is a problem, then we can modify it, or if someone is offended by the noise, or he needs to do one end of the city before the other, so he doesn't get to near the residential. I mean, I think what he told me was he would be obviously very willing to modify his route of mowing and stuff to not cause any kind of a noise.
Well, that's true. He could mow down at the park and things like
Yeah,
that.
I mean,
It wouldn't even,
but it was standard practice with the, evidently the school system. I mean, they got it in there before early 6, and those are cooler hours for sure. You know, and I'm all supportive if we can do a 7, but I'm not that uncomfortable unless the attorney tells me otherwise. I would recommend the 6 hours.
What was the ordinance saying?
7, what is for construction work? Yeah, that's,
For noise purposes.
I wouldn't worry about it unless it's a problem.
that's what I'm thinking too, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a
So my motion would be to modify whatever the motion was to, I guess,
From 7 to 6.
to do 7 and to make it be 6, subject to, yeah, in response to community concerns and issues.
It's not daylight at 6 yet, though.
Would you say you have the ability to start as
Does
early
he
as
have lights
6?
on his board?
That would
Okay.
be interesting to see.
Do you want to do 6? I don't know how they didn't want, let's do 6:30 then. What do you think of that one?
It's getting daylight at 6. Later on, it'll be daylight at 6, but right now, it ain't.
What's your,
His first job in the morning is clean the bathrooms.
well, that's true.
We got
but
lights down.
that's not a hot, and I would do that at the end of a meeting. That would be an easier job as opposed to being out in the sun, but whatever. You want to use a different time than
I
6:30?
don't care really, but it ain't daylight at 6, though.
So give me your recommendation.
Just whatever Richie wants to do. He's gonna steal your work, not me.
Well, Tina, will you be up there at 6 o'clock to see if he's at work?
I'm not gonna say
Just let him check in and check out, and he'll put his hours in.
well, he clocks in.
He clocks in.
I don't worry about it.
I don't worry about it.
He said he could start at 6.
Just give him the ability to start that early, and then he can kind of tailor it to whatever, as long as he's getting his hours done.
Just give him the flexibility,
Yeah.
All right, well then you need to amend your motion there so I
I
can
make a
jot this
motion
paper
that
down.
he can make his hours flexible within the 6 to 8 hour start time according to his needs.
Good motion.
I second that.
Motion is second. All in favor, let me know, raise your hand. All righty, that's passed. Okay. Appreciate that. Next, we have to discuss and if necessary, vote regarding the current status of the mayoral power. I don't know, I certainly didn't initiate this. Matter of fact, I think you said you did.
I did, and I didn't know if Tina needed to say anything further. I just wanted, because I know Lamar had asked the question at the last meeting, I just feel it's something that we need to address and, you know, just make sure everybody's on the same page. And again, there was no disrespect intended towards you in any way. I was surprised to hear the attorney's answer, and I'm sure others were as well. And just want to make sure we're all on the same page, especially considering we're still have the GBI investigation going on, that we don't have the results as of yet, and don't want to change things up too much to where we can end up having a problem later on.
Question? Or do we need a motion before we have questions, I guess?
You can discuss.
I what?
You can discuss.
You can?
Sure.
Did we decide that we were not going to advertise and hire a city manager? I didn't think we did. And at this point, what we have in there is, I think, a position of the city manager, and it's been approved by the council. It's a question of whether we were going to move forward on the hiring process to advertise and select a city manager. We never really made any decision at our last meeting. We made a decision not to do executive session. And I would like to restate what I stated before, which is if we are going to consider a city manager position, I'm more than happy to, I would like to be able to be considered for the position. And I'm more than happy to share my resume, I'm more than happy to go through a hiring process. And I may not get picked, and that's fine. But I would like to see us move forward with that, because I think that's kind of really where we are. I mean, that in the midterm, until we would hire someone, the city manager, or the mayor would be the person with authority to prepare the budget, the capital improvement program, da-da-da-da-da. So the authority rests there until we would hire a replacement for the city manager position.
Any other?
My understanding was when we hired Tina, was that it was done on an interim basis to then have her move into the position of city manager. And we had it set up with Monaghan, that she would come and help for 6 months, and that was messed up by some interference with a resident. But that was the way things were initially set up, was that as long as everything was going well with her, and this was my understanding, I could be incorrect in my memory, but was that she would eventually move into that slot.
That's right.
6 months.
Yes, Dave.
And I make a motion, we make her interim city manager, of course, she can deal with the budget.
And I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to make her interim city manager.
Questions, comments? We're going to do this without an advertising? Or
So
any applicants?
that was how it was originally set up, like when she was hired.
Same way we done it with Miranda.
No, that is not how we did it for Miranda. We advertised for her position. And,
No, we did not, because I was on the council for that.
we
And I have the
advertised for her
agenda
position.
item right here. She was hired for city clerk, not for
That's
city
what I'm
manager.
saying. She was hired as a city clerk,
And then maybe.
and we advertised for her, because I have a copy of the advertisement.
For clerk, and then
Yeah.
we did an agenda item on February 1st, 2016, which was to vote to keep strong council, weak mayor, city manager. Consistent with the previously adopted 2012 city manager ordinance, the city council votes to appoint the city clerk as interim city manager. Further, the city council votes to delegate the authority along with all executive, administrative, and budgeting duties of the mayor to the interim city manager. That wasn't advertised, that was done that way.
I'm
There
not
was
saying
a-
that, I was saying the clerk position was advertised, which is normally how you would fill a position with the city. And to not go through a competitive hiring process is, in my world, pretty flawed. Because there may be better, more appropriately qualified people who are cheaper or whatever, for whatever reasons you have.
You're talking about his position she already holds. You're talking about
Hiring
as
two
the city
people.
clerk,
No,
and she's
one.
already there.
I'm talking about if we were to look at a city manager position,
Paying 2 people instead of 1.
not necessarily.
Then how, say.
You gonna get rid of her as city clerk?
I may not want any salary if I were hired. No money problems.
Okay,
I'm ready to vote.
do what, Dave?
I'm ready to vote.
All in favor of making Miranda, Tina, raise your right hand. We have a vote of 3, opposed, we have a vote of 1. Okay, so, and I guess we need to, guidance over a counselor, what do we need to discuss the salary, any salary issues, or what's the?
That's up to y'all.
Well, I scheduled an executive session for personnel having absolutely nothing to do with this. The executive session for personnel was to discuss salary and bonus information for budgetary purposes, so.
Second. All the same.
Okay, I guess we need a motion to retire to an executive session.
We still have dumpster.
Pardon?
The dumpster.
Oh, we had, yeah, that's right.
We also didn't end up deciding what to do about the mayor's power.
Well, you just did.
I mean, that takes care of that, so there's nothing else that.
Certain of the mayor's
Everything
powers
else
and
is
duties are now delegated to the city manager.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Those are listed in the city manager ordinance, I believe.
I have that in the binder too, I think.
So it's a moot point. Okay, next have on the agenda to get the dumpster for another, or have it emptied again. And we've discussed that already a little prematurely here in Tina's presentation, so do we have a motion to keep the dumpster and empty it again?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion second, all in favor, let it know, raise the right hand.
We need to block the driveway off on this and get
Yes.
$2 parking lot.
Okay, we need, Tina, can you attend to be sure that our maintenance man, I would say, parks the backhoe across the driveway over there. Because we got enough drums or cones to put over there, but I don't think the cones would.
I think if it's a gate, I think that's gonna.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and do that. He just didn't, like Ricky's, guys are awesome. I get to work with him every day, you don't, so I have to take a quick second to brag on him though. We were gonna park the new truck there to block it off, but he didn't want anyone to hurt his truck. He's like, I don't want anyone to mess it up, do I have to park it there? So that's why it wasn't there, but I think we'll figure something out to go ahead and
Tell
park
them
that
to
off.
put the mowing tractor.
Yeah, mowing tractor.
Yeah.
And also put we've got some signs over there that pertain to road closed or whatever when the dumpster's full, let's close it off this time, okay? Okay.
Can we make a sign that stick, even if it's on stakes sitting out there, like maybe hours that they can put stuff in and bold letters, no mattresses? Not that people are gonna listen, but that way it's not a question of,
Well, the problem is we don't have any sign making a building, but we can put it on
Poster
car
board.
poster board.
There's a laminate machine that was down at the old police department. I don't know if it's still there or not.
It's not doing too well.
I know there was one around it.
Yeah. It's here in the police office, it's just that it hasn't, our attempts to utilize it thus far have been unsuccessful, let's put it that way. But I mean, I can go ahead and get poster board and put signs up or whatever, so.
Actually, then there's not any questions as to.
All right, and be sure to have a dumpster moving when it's full. Okay. All right, and next we have public appearance. Yes, sir.
Lamar Tuck, 1005 North Lake Drive. Since Kelsey singled me out for being inquisitive about city government
I'm glad you did that.
and how it works.
Yes.
And now that the interim city manager is in place. Could you tell me exactly what duties the mayor has other than being chairman
There's a
of the
list on
council?
there. I don't know offhand, I know that I read something.
You'd have to compare the city manager ordinance list with the list of mayoral duties and powers in the charter.
For example, in the charter, the mayor is responsible for seeing all ordinances are faithfully complied with. Is that still going to be his duty?
I'm not sure that that is delegated. I really have to look at the city manager ordinance, and it's not in the book because it's newer. I don't think I have it in the book.
I have one that has the stuff for the mayor, that's in this, the one that lists mayor and city manager. You can look at this if you want to.
I know what the charter says, and
Yeah,
I
the list
don't want there to
follows.
be any doubt as to where the buck stops.
If there,
Somebody's responsible.
yeah, the list, I think, matches. If the list is not delegated to the city manager, it is retained by the mayor. When you compare those two lists, I believe.
So anything that's in the city manager's assignment and the city manager's job description, anything that's not covered there is covered in the mayoral duties. It's still the duty of the mayor.
That's correct.
So the overall authority over the code enforcement is still the mayor.
That is probably not delegated in the city
Okay.
manager ordinance. I don't have it in front of me. I gotta read it. I don't have it. I'm sorry.
Good enough.
We need to update our books.
I just want to get our city government to where people can understand who's responsible for which duties. And you can see, by me just asking that question, we don't have an answer like here tonight.
Well, part of that too, I think has to do with not having a police
So-
department, so
So,
people just kind of in limbo.
The other question I had, which I also mentioned at the last meeting, the open meetings and open records requirements. If you're you tell me if I'm wrong, if you're discussing budgeting items, that should be done in open forum, not in meeting that's not open to the public. Just, talking about salaries for budget items. And also, under open records, I believe salaries are available for open records. So we should not have to go into executive session to talk about salaries in order to, come up with budget items.
If I may, Lamar,
Yeah.
the point was, I'm sorry, it wasn't just to discuss that, it was for evaluation purposes. That was the reason that,
Yeah.
Well, that's not the way I heard it, the way you discussed it earlier.
well, and, okay, so here's what it was, to do the evaluations to determine whether that's even gonna be an issue in preparation for budget. All the salary information is all open records.
Okay, so you're gonna do employee performance discussion, that's what you're doing. I'm just, want to be sure that everybody is aware of everything that goes on that we should be able to hear. And so that's my point of bringing up these type of questions. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Still involved. Y'all are going through a lot of issues tonight that have been on the table for quite a while. Actually made a decision to go forward on services agreement and on the city manager. Both thorny issues and can be looked at a lot of ways. Appreciate y'all taking the effort to do it. I think y'all did a good job. Just wanted to thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, we'll entertain a motion to retire to executive session.
I have a question to ask.
Sure.
So what are we going to talk about in the executive session? What's the purpose of the executive session? Evaluation?
The evaluation and based upon the motion that was made and passed by the council, I guess we'll have to discuss the salary for the city manager.
So with regard to evaluation, do we have the EPE prepared in advance, or we've already had a chance to look at it? Part of our personnel and employee policies.
Have you prepared them?
They don't exist. So consequently, I don't know how you're going to do your evaluation. In fact, I'm not sure why it even got put on the agenda. And I would say we shouldn't have the executive session to talk about evaluations until that all has to be prepared in advance.
Well, we've only got 2 employees, well, we've got, let's see.
I guess I'll put it on the agenda until you put that together, but I mean, you basically don't have you're not following your own policies. So I'd propose that we don't go into executive session, because you haven't prepared material.
Do you want anybody make any motions to adjourn? Or
No, we're going to executive session. Public.
Okay.
We're not going to talk about evaluation. You
We
cannot-
talk about what they vote to when we get in there.
I'm sorry?
We talk about what we vote to when we get in there.
Not if your attorney's paying attention,
That's right.
because that's his.
Within the classification of personnel and employee evaluation, we can go and talk about the employees.
So we can or we can't?
You can go talk about the employees and their performance in executive session.
But you cannot do an evaluation.
You can do it in executive session. Policy is a different thing. You're allowed to discuss employee performance in executive session. Whether you are violating your policies in doing so is a different question.
That's the question that I'm going to put in front of you. Have you read the employee, what our city's policies are for evaluation? You haven't, really. Well, I mean, I have them right here. I can tell you right now, we're not meeting the intent of the adopted policies of the city.
You are the council. If you choose to ignore one of your policies, you may do so. It's up to you.
Really? You're saying we should ignore our
I
policy?
didn't say should. I said if you choose to.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, why do we? This is a joke.
Well, you're a joke.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't need to get
Has
that.
anybody made a motion to actually go into executive
Let's
session?
not make a
Or
motion
was
to
your
go
other-
into executive session.
I did.
I think you did, yeah.
Okay, we have a second.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion second to go into executive session. All in favor, let me know, raise your right hand. Thank you. All opposed?